I noticed I was having symptoms of a pregnant woman, except I didn't have. Hey beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. I'm sure most of you have been wondering where is Pretty. We can't see any content, what's happening. Even my social media platforms were not so active. I was off WhatsApp, Instagram, I was rarely active, and yeah. So I was literally on a break, but it was for a good reason. I don't even know if I can call it a good reason, but it was for a reason. So this year I was diagnosed with a tumor. I started noticing symptoms last year when I went home, but it was something that I didn't take so serious. The first symptom I noticed was me missing my period. So when I went home, I even thought it was like because of changing environment. So I was like, anyway, probably when I get back to Algeria, it's going to be okay. So I went home in July last year. I came back here and it was still the same. And I was like, okay, let me give it some time. And it was now 3 months and I'm like, okay, no, something must be wrong. So I went to the hospital. In fact, I went to see a gynecologist at the main hospital. And she thought it was stress. She thought it was because of stress. Like, I had the ultrasound thing. There was nothing wrong with my uterus, nothing wrong with my fallopian tube. Like, there was nothing wrong down there. No cyst was found. So after that, she just told me it can be stress. Sometimes when you're stressed, you can miss your period. So just, avoid being too stressed. So I forgot about it. I was like, okay, probably when I stop stressing, it's going to be normal. And I waited again. It was now January, like 6 months, nothing at all. So what happened was I went to the hospital again and I told them it's been 6 months. At this point, the symptoms kind of like increased, but I really didn't know what was causing it. My eyesight became bad. I gained a lot of weight. Like, I gained a lot of weight even when I was not eating like too much. So I gained weight, I was missing periods, I was having headaches. And yeah, like, I went to the hospital again. I did an ultrasound. Everything was okay. I didn't have anything growing, no cyst, nothing. So they told me to do a hormonal test where they needed like 7 hormones. They found something that was, off. That was prolactin. My prolactin levels were so high, like 251 nanograms per mil. And that's not normal for a girl who's not pregnant. Like, the only time it's normal for prolactin levels to be high is when a woman is pregnant. That's why like it shoots, because prolactin is the hormone that helps in milk production and all those things. So for me, it was too high and it was abnormal. So again, they attributed it to stress. They're like, maybe you're stressed, so give it some time, it will go back to normal. What I did was I just took their word and I'm like, okay, let me wait again. But I started overthinking, you guys. I even went to like research more, and everything I researched on Google, on YouTube, was telling me high prolactin levels is most likely to be Prolactinoma, which is a tumor. And then the symptoms are the same. They were saying that the clinical manifestation of this tumor is amenorrhea, which I had, and also infertility. And that's the thing that like got me worried. I'm like, okay, so I don't know yet if it's true that I have prolactinoma, but all these are the symptoms I have. And it's not really right to like give yourself a diagnosis and all that, but everything was just pointing to prolactinoma. I started thinking like, wait a minute, does this mean this is how I just become barren? Like, from nowhere, I don't even know what caused it. I just have no children. Guys, I started thinking, and all that just like caused more stress. They told me don't stress, but I stressed even more, knowing that okay, I won't be able to have children. So what do I do? Do I have to accept it? Do I have to I was like so paranoid over all this. So what happened was I gave myself 2 months, in fact 3 months. I told myself this is January, I'll give myself up to March. If by March nothing changes, I'm going back to the hospital, because I have a tumor, but they haven't told me I have a tumor. Is it that they knew but they didn't want to tell me, or what? I didn't even know. Like, a lot of things were going on in my head. And then now that I've been researched on more symptoms, I started paying attention to like the symptoms. I started noticing my eyesight became worse. You see, this tumor is just at the base of the brain. Some people call it a brain tumor, but it's not really a brain tumor because it's in the pituitary gland, which is at the base of the brain. So what happens is this tumor is just seated under the optic nerve, so it gets to press on the optic nerves. So I noticed that symptom. What else? I lost my appetite, but I was gaining, which wasn't making sense. So March came and I'm like, I'm going to go. And just when I was about to go, like the week where I was like, let me go to the hospital, we just heard corona is in Algeria. You guys, the way it spread was just so crazy. Like, it spread and they might just tell you a suspect. Like, it was somehow scary to go there. So I told myself, wait, I'm not going to the hospital right now because of all this corona thing. And then transport was even not so available. A lot of things, So I was like, I can't go. And then now I took it far in terms of waiting, because I don't know, like here cases like were spreading so fast, like from 1,000 the next week you're seeing 2,000, just like that. I'm like, okay, this is too much. So it was now July, and I noticed I even started having prolactin is a hormone that's high in pregnant women. Like I said, let me just give some values of reference that they were saying on my papers. So for a normal girl, the prolactin levels, like someone who's not pregnant, the prolactin levels, the normal prolactin levels are supposed to be between 5 and 35, you see. And for a pregnant woman, it's high, but it's not also like really high where it surpasses like 500 or whatnot. But mine was 251. So because I had a hormone which is supposed to be high in a pregnant woman, I was having symptoms of a pregnant woman, except I didn't have that, fetus in me. I noticed my breasts became bigger and I started having some milk discharge. Guys, it was so creepy. Like, wait, I'm not pregnant, I don't have any child, and I'm releasing milk, which is okay, quite strange. And then another thing is my mood started changing. Guys, I'm sure most of you know that the pituitary gland is the master gland, and there's a tumor in the master gland. So somehow it affects the other hormones. So it was like messing with my mood. I was thinking like I'm trying to be positive, but I'm somehow losing it at the same time. So those are the symptoms I noticed up to July. Then I didn't even know how to like tell people, because you just tell somebody you have a tumor, they'll be like, wait, you have a tumor? And you know how it is like in movies when somebody says they've got a tumor, like the consequences, something happened, and then I had to just like tell some people, I'm sick, this is what's been happening to me and all that. And they're like, pretty, you can't be staying like this, you have to go to the hospital. That's how this time I didn't go to the main hospital, I had to go to a private hospital, because the first time they misdiagnosed me. They didn't even give me like medicine, they just told me it's going to be okay. So what happened was we went to see a gynecologist who had the third ultrasound thing, like they scanned everything. Again, they didn't find any ovarian cyst, they didn't find any, I don't know, nothing was wrong like down there. So I gave the gynecologist my first results, the hormonal results. Yeah, so she told me the problem is up here, and I had to do an MRI scan where it's brain imaging, whatever, where they see if there's any cancer, any tumor. And yeah, it was my first time having an MRI scan. I went the following week, and the thing takes time. I didn't know it takes time. Like 30 minutes, like about 30 minutes, I was just in that machine, and they told me, do not move, like don't make any movement or else things will be disrupted. I was just there, guys, in 30 minutes, no movements. The only thing I was doing was thinking. I'm praying. I'm like, God, this shouldn't be cancer. If it's a tumor, it should be benign or something. Like, it shouldn't be a cancerous tumor. Yeah, so then I finished, and they told me to come the following day. They told me to come get the results the following day. I got the results, took to the gynecologist, and for her part was done. She told me, she referred me to a neurosurgeon. She's like, you have to see a neurosurgeon. I went to the neurosurgeon, who told me, you've got prolactinoma, and the good news is that it's not big, you see, and it's non-malignant, meaning it doesn't spread, it just grows, so it's not cancer. So my heart was, you know, a bit calm, but I'm like, okay, so what do we do? Then he's like, it's not necessary to get surgery because it's like, it's not big, so it's like, it's in the process of growing. The best thing we can do right now is try to shrink it. If it doesn't, you know, shrink, that's when they take other options. But normally this medication is supposed to shrink the tumor. So they prescribed Cabergoline for me to take for 6 months. That was the treatment course, was supposed to be like for 6 months. So they prescribed that, and they told me to be coming for reviews every month. I had to take, this time I didn't like need a hormonal test for all the hormones. I just needed prolactin because it was the only hormone that was high. So each month I had to do a blood test to check for my prolactin levels. If the prolactin levels are reducing, meaning the tumor is also shrinking. So Cabergoline has bad side effects. I won't even lie. Like, you know, me taking Cabergoline made me feel worse than before taking the medication. Like, the side effects are more than the symptoms. It was so unbearable, especially the first 3 months, because when I take the medication, they just told me to take once a week, but the effects were long lasting. Like, it's that strong. So they even like said, some people are taught to take twice a week, but for me they said just take once in a week. So whenever I took the medication, I would feel dizzy, like my anxiety levels would increase. My mood changes were like so abrupt. Like, guys, I would go from dancing to crying. Like, the hormones are just all over the place, and I'm like, am I losing it? Am I going crazy? Like, I'd even ask my best friend, like, what if I'm going mad without noticing, you see? So it was just so crazy, and me trying to, I didn't even know how to tell people, like, is somebody going to understand me, what I'm going through? And so what I did was I cut off social media. You know, sometimes you find negative stuff on social media and stuff, and for me already, I'm being stressed by hormones which are beyond my control, and I find some negative stuff or things that would just like trigger me. I'm like, nah, I'll give myself a break. Even YouTube, I love doing YouTube, but I couldn't just like do a lot of things at once because I had to struggle with studying while I was sick, because we're going to have exams, like 2 semester exams. So it was really tough for me. I had depression, like, you know, depression that you don't even like, you don't even know what's causing the depression. Nothing is like bothering you. It's just the hormones that are making you feel that feeling. At night, especially when I'm sleeping, I'll get that tingling sensation in my, you know, feet and whatnot, and I'm like it was so hard. Like, I would even fail to sleep early. I would sleep around 05 or 06. Like, I won't even be online but I would just be thinking, overthinking. I would get confused. Like, I would forget things fast. Like, I became so forgetful. I lost my appetite. Like, this time it became serious, where I would have like 1 meal per day, and some days Some days I would go without eating, without even noticing. You see, the medicine would make me feel nauseous, and I hated that feeling. Like whenever I eat, I'll just feel nauseous. I want to throw up and everything. So even eating became a struggle. So I started seeing some progress in terms of like the prolactin levels, because the first time I went for the blood test, like after that first month, it was 251 nanograms. Then the first month it reduced to 63, and for me just seeing progress was everything. I'm like, God, you love me too much. Then the second month it decreased to 33, so meaning the second month, just in the second month, it was reaching the value of reference, which was between, I said it's between 5 to 35. And the same second month, at the end, guys, I saw my period after a year. After a year of not having menstruals, nothing. The second month of treatment, I finally had my period, and I was so excited. You know, I like celebrating small wins. Like any victory, I'll just try to celebrate, even if it's myself or it's something, you know. I ordered food that day. Even if I didn't have appetite, I just made a call, ordered, and I ate that day. I was just so happy. Each time I'm going for a review, I do the blood test and I'm seeing progress, and that was everything. My mood also started like becoming, you know, when you're seeing things being, you know, good and all that, my mood also changed. I stopped being too moody, I stopped being negative, and even the side effects of the medication, like in the third month, I couldn't even feel that nauseous feeling. My appetite started coming back slowly. Even the feeling of tiredness, the anxiety was there, but not so much. And until recently, I noticed another symptom where I started feeling some pain in my breast, and also I started having like some hair growing here, like countable, and then there was one just here. So I'm like, before it spreads, I have to go to the hospital. So I went, and this time I had a one-on-one with my doctor, where I even wanted to like ask him the consequences, the what. So I talked to him. I was being like, what causes this thing exactly? And even just like Google said, there is no specific cause. Like you won't find a specific cause. Even scientists are still researching this. They don't know what really causes prolactinoma, but it just comes. Like it's just a tumor, it just comes, and you know, the best thing you can just do is treat it or remove it through surgery. And by the way, this just doesn't happen in females. Guys have it, and for guys it's a bit difficult to detect because they don't have periods where you can see like, okay, I'm not having periods. Maybe they can see from their eyesight issues. So for guys it's harder to like tell, because mostly they tell when they're trying to have children and they can't, and they have to do the whole tests, and they discover they've got prolactinoma. So yeah, for me, I saw progress, and I've gone 3 times recently because I had like some other symptoms showing up, like the hair, like I said, pain in my breast, and I was like, what's happening? The doctor told me it's probably the medication that's causing that, meaning you have to stop soon. And it was now like the last month of taking the medication, which is this month. Even, in fact, today is the last day I'm supposed to do the treatment. And what they did was, my doctor, the neurosurgeon, said that I finished this course, which is today. I finished this course, and after that, like after seeing him, he told me to go to an endocrinologist, because for him that was the last time I was seeing him. He told me to go to an endocrinologist after having a blood test, and guys, the results came out fabulous. Like all the hormones were now back to normal, because the last one I had to do also was like of all the hormones, because I was having some other effects. So now they started suspecting like maybe the hair is growing because of high cortisol levels. So I did that, and everything was okay. So he said, for me, my case is done. Like, he was so nice. God bless that man. For me, my case is done. So you have to go to an endocrinologist who's just going to like finalize things for you. She will tell you whether I should stop completely this medication or not. And I went to the endocrinologist the same day. I went to the endocrinologist. She said I had to like, you know, check my blood pressure, like what's causing this hair. We're trying to see the reason. Like she also did some other tests on me, and she told me right now the levels of prolactin are stabilized. But what she told me to do was I should take this Cabergoline for 2 more months, which I'm doing. I should take it for 2 more months just to make sure the level is as low as possible. Yeah, otherwise guys, I'm fine now. Everything is okay. My mood is better. I felt before, I felt like my cup was running empty, and I was like, I can't come to YouTube and spread fake positive vibes. I need to come here authentic, spread good vibes, and encourage you guys, advise you guys, make you guys laugh and all that. And yeah, now I'm back, all energized. Otherwise it was a lot. I learned a lot. I just can't say everything in this video because I have planned a lot of content for you guys, and I'm going to add vlogs. I've added a lot more new content. By the way, this is not a direct diagnosis to whatever symptoms you may be having that are relating to whatever I've mentioned. So if you've got these symptoms, the best thing you can do is go to the hospital. And ladies, do not take these things for granted. Good. Hey, do not take this do not take this thing lightly where you miss your periods and you think it's normal. The best thing is to go seek treatment or consultation as soon as possible, because when this thing becomes too much, or when you let it like stay, this is where you find like you're infertile and you don't even know how it happened. So guys, thank you for watching. Please share this. Somebody might need this. Not everybody has the courage to share such things, but I just thought like I would share it because it might come in handy for somebody. Not today, maybe in future, but yeah, so please share it and don't forget to subscribe. A big shout out to everybody who helped me during this process, those people who went all out, who understood me, who trying to check up on me despite this pandemic, because we're all having issues. But I just thank God for people who spared some time to do stuff for me. And a big shout out to my best friend, because my best friend was there throughout and tolerated my mood changes, everything, and was still calm, and the calmness was contagious. So thank you so much guys. See you in my next video. Bye.